Hi guys!
Hey!
This is Linda.
And Richmond.
And we are the
Santis.
So we've had a few friends ask us about how we got on a property ladder, how we came about buying our house that we recently bought.
Yeah.
So we've decided to make a quick video just to explain the process of how to buy a house in the UK, you know, how to get on a property ladder and all that stuff there with credit scores and whatnot. So
stay tuned. Right, guys, so first things first, before you start everything, it's very important to know exactly how much it is that you can afford. Need to basically make sure that you've got the right funds and you are able to so basically just do a quick calculation of things that you can afford, because obviously this is going to be a long term. And the first step is getting an agreement in principle. This can be done via the bank, or you can even do it yourself. If you go online, you search an agreement in principle, you can just fill in agreement in principle, and then it will give you an oversight of exactly how much it is that you're likely to, the lenders are likely to borrow you. And that's pretty much what an agreement in principle is. It's also known as an AIP.
Basically, it just entails you giving your bank your recent pay slips, and then if you're like a solo buyer, obviously it would just be you, and if you're buying with someone else, you get both of your pay slips together, your recent ones, and then obviously they put all together your annuals, earnings, all of that together, and then they'll tell you, okay, fine, we can borrow you this sort of money. I mean, you don't really need to do an AIP before you start, but it would be advisable for you to do an AIP and before you start house searching, so that you know what you can afford and what you can't afford, basically. So next thing, you obviously want to know what your credit score is. There are a few websites online, if you go on the internet, that tells you like what your credit score is, like clearscore.com, equifax.co.uk, experian.co.uk. So when you you are doing the AIP, they will do a credit check as well, which is a soft check basically, which means it doesn't it doesn't bring your credit score down. So a hard search is like when they go into detail, and then you might lose some points of your credit score.
In terms of the credit score, it's also very important that before you do it, you have like what Linda was saying, that you have a lot of things in place, like all your addressing lines, literally everything needs to be intact to help generate a good credit score. Because if your credit score is not so great, you're not going to get a good agreement in principle return, because not many lenders will be looking at borrowing you money.
So the next stage is obviously looking for what house you want, what type of house you're looking to buy, what location, the price, the deposits that they require. So in terms of houses, like, do you want an old build which has been built like from not centuries, but from ages ago, a few years back basically, or a new build which is just recently been built, which we went for a new build basically. You do hear a lot of stories that new builds aren't that strong, blah blah blah, like the old builds. But it's your choice what you want to go for. New builds are more modern, they're sleek, they're more electricity in terms of bills wise. They hold it more
energy efficient.
That's the word. They're more energy efficient. So we went for a new build. So how many rooms do you want, and what location? Like I said, London is, like we all know, a really expensive place to buy. So we went out of London. Obviously we prayed about it, what location we want to end up at, before we actually went ahead and began searching. So we did search around a few vicinities, like not just the place that we ended up at, but the city or the town around it as well. Also, you want to know if you want to buy a semi-detached, a detached house, a terraced house, end of terrace, mid terrace, all of that stuff there. You need to keep that in consideration. Obviously, detached houses on its own are very expensive, as you all know.
Not cheap.
Yeah, so that's that. And then you want to know how many rooms you're looking for, and all of that stuff there.
Other things I would add to it is like amenities, what's around there. Is
getting to work and stuff like that. Is it convenient for you? Like train, shopping, whatnot.
Yeah, that's very important because in this day and age, the closer you are to the transport link, the more expensive the house may become, and also in terms of future, it will appreciate rather than depreciate in value.
Yeah, so you want to put that in consideration as well. Like, if you were to buy this house now, in the future, how much is it going to worth? The area, is it going to be a developed area? Are people going to move in there, which is going to make the house price go up more, basically? So our area is like a newly developed, they're still building, so there's not a lot of people around here, which obviously tells us that it's going to get busy around here, and a lot of people are going to move here. So the house prices will obviously get really competitive in terms of if you want to sell and what's that, and stuff like that. Like, you need to also search like a lot of developers. So in terms of what you want, you can go on rightmove.co.uk, zoopla.co.uk. So we went to the developer itself, called David Wilson Homes. So we purchased directly through them. We didn't go through an estate agent. So we went to them directly to purchase, which you can do as well if that's what you're looking for.
Right, next we move on to reservation. Reservation is quite simple. Basically, it's a process of what you put down, a small deposit. They'll say, okay, you put down this amount of money, and normally that money will go towards the final figure for the house or the property that you're going for, and you don't really lose that. And on top of that as well, what reservation does is it just make sure that you have that house, but you don't have it. Basically, it just puts you in a position to say that until you complete your paperwork, this is now reserved for you. So it's just a mark, just put you down as a marker, really, and that's pretty much it. And from then on, you move on to the next stage after you're reserved, and then you're trying to sort things out as quickly as possible, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, but when you do change your mind about after you've put down your reservation fee, you do obviously lose a percentage of how much you've put down, probably like 20%, 25%. It depends on the developer or the estate agent itself, basically. So just put that in mind, that if that's your final decision, let it be your final decision. So the next step, when you've reserved your house, so the developer, in this case, our new builds developers, David Wilson, they referred us to a mortgage broker. Basically, that you can obviously look for your own mortgage broker if you know somebody, but for the process not to be like really long, and make the exchange and contracts like really fast and quick, so that house can be legally yours, they actually recommend that you go with their own brokers, which is free of charge. There's no charge. So we went with them. So basically what the mortgage broker does is they obviously again do an AIP or a decision in principle. Basically they liaise with the bank that is going to borrow you the money. So you get all your pay slips together again, so for them to know if you can afford this house again, then a decision in principle or AIP is needed again. So all of that is done, and then they deal with other things, like if you need any advice, if you don't understand anything, just go to them. It's free of charge service, they're not charging you.
And also they will then point you in the direction of a solicitor who would then take the other legal matters regarding the house and everything else. So basically they will try and give you all that package in one. So, but then again, if you're confident enough to do it all by yourself, or someone who's confident enough to help you out and to do it for you, then great. Right, so next we move on to government schemes or property buying schemes. So there are various buying schemes out there, and for the context of this video, we are just going to focus on the one that we used, because that's the one that we have a lot more details about, and on top of that as well, we would leave you to do more of your own research regarding all the other schemes which might best fit for you. So we're moving on to like other government schemes out there, or other property schemes out there that you can actually use when buying your property. If you're a first-time buyer, there are Help to Buy equity loan scheme, and there are also shared ownership for new properties, and also I believe there's right to buy, but that's mostly for if you've been renting you've been renting from the council, you've been renting from some a different developer, and now you want the right to buy it. That's different, but we're not going to go too much into that. We're going to focus mostly on the Help to Buy equity scheme. Most developers use the Help to Buy equity scheme because it's a government program that they've been running for, I think, about 7 years now. And what that does is it helps you get on a property ladder quicker. You just need a minimum of 5% deposit. You can obviously go beyond the 5%, but most developers will just require a minimum 5% deposit of obviously total value. And provided whether you live in London or you're buying in London or you're going outside. I know at the moment within London it's 400,000. Yeah, 400,000, and outside of London it's 250,000. So these are certain things to consider if you're planning on using the Help to Buy schemes and all the other things there.
So there's a Help to Buy ISA, which obviously it was introduced in 2013, but they stopped it in last year. No,
December.
2009. Was it last year?
Yeah,
it was stopped last year. So if you've still got that Help to Buy ISA, you can still use it to purchase your first house. You can go towards it. But obviously with new ones, if you want to start something, there's a LISA, which is a lifetime ISA. With the Help to Buy ISA, like Richmond said, there's a maximum of how much you can use. So we didn't know this. Government, they give you a bonus of how much you've saved on top of, I think it's 25% bonus or something. So if you're buying a house up to £400,000 in London, they can give you that bonus. But if it's over that, then you're not going to get that. And if it's out of London, the maximum it should be is £250,000, which is ridiculous because obviously our house was above that, so we couldn't apply for that bonus. We found out and we were like, we didn't know. We didn't know this. Nobody told us. So like the Help to Buy ISA was.
Basically we saved all that money, and then now it's time for the government to give us. We didn't get the bonus, so we were completely heartbroken. But we moved. So if you use a Help to Buy, just remember you can't rent that house. The Help to Buy ISA, depending if you buy in London, you can get up to 40% of the property value. The government can give you up to 40%. If you buy outside of London, like in our situation, the government can give you up to 20% of the property value. Now, that percentage, the government basically owns a percentage of that in the house you bought. Now, the more as time goes on, as you begin to pay it off, and also you get 5 years interest free to obviously do payments towards that equity loan, or after
you can pay it off quickly if you've got the money. Basically.
If you've got the money, or they spread
just
it over the years, just like a mortgage.
Out of your way. Yeah.
And the quicker you pay that off, it means that the government no longer has a hand in whether you decide to sell your house, or if something happens and the government say, okay, if you're selling the house, 20%, I want my 20% back. So basically, that is not as if they own the property, but they have a share in it. So the Help to Buy ISA is no longer available for new applicants, but the LISA is still available for new applicants, and that one is slightly different, but it works as the same scheme. Basically, if you save up to £4,000 a year, the government will give you 25% of that money, which works out as £1,000 on top of whatever you've saved. So whenever you can't obviously take that money out until you are going to buy the house. That's when the solicitor and the mortgage broker will request that money from the government, and it comes to you for free. Now, there are some glitches and there are some loopholes. So please make sure you do enough research before you apply, and to make sure that these all or better yet, if you know anyone who's a financial advisor, or anyone who can better advise you on these things, speak to someone who is more equipped to give you more information, because you don't want to make that same mistake again, thinking that you're going to get something back.
So next step, when you've gone through that, if you're using a Help to Buy, if their Help to Buy application has gone through, you get referred to a solicitor who is gonna help you, is basically gonna liaise between you, be your solicitor, and liaise with the developer's solicitors as well, just to help you exchange contracts. This is basically like legal stuff, basically just to say that that is yours and, you know, blah blah blah. So their solicitors and your solicitors are going to be doing the documentation and whatnot. There are some fees and whatnot. We are going to tell you exactly how much we paid and what you had to expect. So don't just be like, oh, they're going to charge £500, blah blah blah. You know, it's more than that, because you need to be really prepared for all of this. If you know, house buying is not cheap. So
that's why we mentioned that at the very beginning. You need to make sure you've done all your calculations. Make sure that you've got the finances in place to know that whatever they throw at you or whatever the challenges are, you are able to, override it. Because otherwise you end up losing money. Because if you have paid for something, they've searched it, and then now when it comes for you to have the money ready, and you don't have it, it becomes an issue.
So yeah, I'm gonna take out a book and I am gonna list out exactly how much was paid. So basically, what the solicitors did was they did a search fee. So basically what they've done, they search on a property that you're gonna buy, like a local authority search, what's around the local, stuff like that. Water and drainage search, like if you buy a house and it is to flood, they need to know what's under the land and whatnot, because we bought from scratch. We don't know what's been built in it, underneath it basically. So they've done all of that search, environmental search, blah blah blah. So all of that comes up as £300. All of that search, basically, that's the fee. That's
that search alone.
Yeah. And for them to evaluate the house, it was £352. So basically, a valuation fee. The developers gave us the price of the house, so the solicitors need to actually search on that and be like, okay, fine, is this house gonna be worth that price that they're selling us to? All of that, they need to do all of that. And also there was a solicitors themselves fee, so you pay them for doing their work, which was £858. And then there's a land tax. We did not pay any land tax because our land is ours, is freehold. So there's something called a stamp duty, which is I think it's now been scrapped, or no, it was scrapped.
Well, basically with that one, the land tax, the stamp duties has been extended until the 31st of March 2021.
Yeah, so if you're buying a maximum
up to 500k,
up to £500,000, you don't pay any stamp duty
at the moment.
Before that, it used to be some ridiculous price like £10,000, £15,000. You pay all of that basically, but now the government scrapped all of that until March this year. So after that, I don't know what they're gonna do. So we did not pay any land tax because also like I said, the land is ours. There's something called freehold and a leasehold. Freehold is basically, we're buying a whole land basically, and if you're on a leasehold, it's basically an apartment. So leaseholds are mainly with apartments, like the council or whoever, and whatever development built that house, they own that land basically, but you just own the building or like the walls and whatnot, the 4 squares in it basically. So land tax we got none. Land registration fee was £270 for them to register your land like it's yours. There was a search pack fee which was £250, and then there was a chancel indemnity premium fee which was £12. Land registry searches which was £3.60. Bankruptcy searches which was £5.20.
To make sure you're not going broke.
And then there was a developer's document fee which was £240. So in total, all of that came up to £2,290.80p. So, like, just imagine, do you have that sort of money to be paying all of that here and there? Get all of that together. And we got a cash back from the lenders, which was NatWest, the bank that was giving us the mortgage. So we got £250 cash back, so that was taken out of the fee basically. So like I said, you need to know that you've got all of that money on top of your deposits your deposit of how much you're going to be paying for the house, your 5% or your 10%. Obviously, ours was 5% deposit because we went with Help to Buy ISA, but we went above that 5%. We paid more because we didn't want to, you know, be tied to however much is left or whatnot.
So, and on top of that, what I would say is, though these fees are quite high, they're not all collected at once. The majority, I think about 75% of it is collected later, at the very end, when they've completed everything. I think the first thing they collect was the land search, isn't it? The land search and the valuation. Those things they collect first. Even the solicitors fees and stuff, they collected all that at the end.
When they've done the work,
when they've basically they've completed everything and you're happy with that, that's when they would collect all that fee. So don't worry about if you haven't got that money straight away. But then again, if you're looking to buy a house, really and truly, you should have these things in place. But as time goes on, obviously you're putting more into that savings and you're putting more into that, so you have more money available. So
also, obviously, buying a house is not just about the house itself. You need to think about furnishing. Like with new builds, so our house was just the building. They're just building you the house. So for us to have a dishwasher, a washing machine, cooker, oven, all of that, we paid for that. So we went for a package where we paid them the money, and then obviously they did all of that for us, like our cupboards, we chose the colors, our carpets, our flooring. So the carpet and flooring does not come in with it. It all depends. If they've built at a stage where they're ready to sell and no one is buying it, they'll throw in that extra and they'll be like, okay, fine, we're going to do the carpet for you, we're going to do the flooring for you. But because we actually reserved the house when it was just land, we had to get all the extras in and pay for that, all by ourselves. So you need to think about it, like, have you got the money to be buying all of that stuff there? Your cupboards and whatnot. Obviously, with furnitures and beds and whatnot, you have to get yourselves, which is not cheap as well.
So in a nutshell, it's just basically the house is unfurnished when you move in.
So you need to get your washing machine, your cooker, your hob.
But you can speak to the developer. Some of them will throw in some incentive, they'll throw in some discounts for you, they'll do other things for you.
Sometimes some of them pay for your solicitor's fee as well, just so they can sell the house quicker, they can help you get that house quicker.
It's haggle, hustle, and just make sure you get the best discount that you could possibly get. At the moment, I know most developers are doing NHS discounts, so if anyone working on the healthcare system and you want to take advantage of it, for instance, our developer that we went with there, and they're still doing an NHS discount. I know, obviously, this whole COVID has made these developers come together to try and help the community and all. So try and take advantage of all the discounts that you can possibly get, which will help lower the final initial fee that you pay for the property. So
So after you've exchanged contracts with your solicitors and their solicitors, and the house is legally yours, which you then have to pay for your deposit fee because you're bound to it now. There's no going back, unless if you actually want to sell it to somebody else. But it's legally yours. You have to do what you have to do.
Basically, once you've the exchange papers have come in and you've signed to say, yep, this house now belongs to you. You are now legally binded for that house. So whatever happens, that is now, and normally with the exchange of contract, it doesn't take long before, like for instance, if it's a new build, after you exchange, it doesn't take long before the house is completed. So it's at the very last stage is when you would complete. Some developers, you might even exchange, as soon as you exchange, you move in. And that's another thing. Now we're going to move on to insurance, because once you've completed and now you're legally binding,
you need to think about insurance.
One thing you need to think about is your own personal insurance. So there's going to be life and critical illness insurance. For instance, if you're unwell or something happens to you, God forbid, what's going to happen to the payments, your partner, and all that stuff. And to be honest, I would recommend everyone, whether old or young, get life insurance, the minimum, because especially in this day and age that we're in, we don't know what's going to happen. Life and critical illness insurance. We once again, because we were still new to this game and we're still learning a lot of things. We were caught with a lot of things like a decrease in mortgage insurance and other payment protection insurance that we took out. These things are all important. Payment protection insurance is basically if something happens to you and you're off sick from work for a long period of time, where your sick pay from work actually stops. That then kicks in and start paying you a percentage or how much you are paid at work. So if you take out that insurance, then they pay for your basically, it's like they pay your wages. But that doesn't cover if you get sacked. So don't think I'm going to lose my job, sit at home, and they'll be paying you for the rest of your life. So moving on from there, you have to think about building and content insurance. So once you've obviously now you have the house, you now have to insure the house, because it's part of the legal requirement from the lender that you insure the house before you move in. So if anything happens, at least the building and content insurance will cover that. So the building insurance is the structure of the house. Content insurance is everything in it. And a good analogy is if you tip the house upside down, everything that will fall is content insurance. So the sofas, the TVs, everything that will fall is content insurance. So these are things that you need to consider taking out. First, life insurance, critical illness insurance, payment protection insurance, which is also known as income protection insurance, and then your home insurance, life insurance. You can even go as far as boiler and breakdown cover, because all of those things, now you're a homeowner. You can't call the council to come and fix your boiler if it breaks down. So all of those things, boiler and breakdown content.
New builds as well is covered by
warranty.
There's a 10-year. There's NHBC, which is the National Housing Building Company. Is it company? I don't know what the C stands for. But yeah, they basically, it's like building houses in the UK. They have to check that the house obviously is fit
to standard,
to standard for people to move in. So you're covered 10 years with them, and with our developers, we're covered 2 years with them. So if anything is to go wrong, we can just tell them this and that. So, but obviously it's not you damaging the walls like he did. We're not gonna call them and be like, oh, the walls are damaged, so come fix it. No, they wouldn't do that, because that's you. So it's basically anything that's to go wrong that they've built that was not quite right, they'll come and fix, basically.
And that's pretty much it. What we're really going to say is this is based on our experience.
Everyone's experience might be different,
exactly,
but the house process stages are always the same. But
this is built on our experience, and we can only advise you on what we've gone through. Now, like we keep saying, it's always best to do your own research. Do as much research as possible before, because buying a property is a lifetime investment. So the money that you're going to put into this, make sure you put a lot of research into it before you actually invest, because once you sign those documentation to say that you've now got a mortgage, you can't just all of a sudden get up tomorrow and say, oh, I'm moving to somewhere, and forget about this, because it's gonna be after. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us on this chat.
If you've got any questions, just pop them down in the comment below, or just message me if you've got my number. You can follow me on Instagram, misslay_. That's
you can follow me on Instagram,
MISSLAY_.
You can follow me on Instagram.
Don't follow him. He doesn't use the account.
At Yao Richie, Yao Richie on Instagram as well. And you can follow our homepage at The Asantes on Instagram.
The Asantes home on Instagram. I'll put it all in the description box.
So
don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. We're going to be doing a few more videos on things that pop up. So if any suggestions, we're welcome to receive them.
And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We are more than welcome to help to the best of our knowledge. Thank you for watching. Bye.